want to talk about moving with purpose and being in our bodies. And this is a subject that is very much in my mind right now because I am not in my body right now. And what do I mean by that? When we're kids and we're born and we move, I was driving home yesterday, and there was an older girl and a younger girl walking down the sidewalk side by side. And the older girl was probably 15 years old, and she was walking holding her books in front of her, and she was walking in a very stiff way. And of course I immediately understood, whereas the 4-year-old was walking and stopped and did this dance move and was doing all these things, and you could just tell that she was fully in her body. Like, her body and her mind were talking to each other, and when she did something, her body did it, right? Whereas the 15-year-old was, obviously having some body issues, and not feeling like she was in her body, and maybe having some body shame issues and being afraid of who's looking at, what's growing where, that kind of thing. This is so typical in terms of development, that there are, and it could be because of developing breasts, it could be because of gaining weight, it could be because of losing weight, it could be that somebody has a scar on their leg that they're self-conscious of, it could be that somebody has surgery. I was talking with a friend the other day about how she felt disconnected from her body after a surgery because her back worked in a different way because she had a fusion done. So there are all kinds of things that can cause us to disconnect from our body. But it is a wonderful place to be in when you are in your body. And it's not an overnight thing. I mean, I'm working actively when I realize, oh my gosh, I'm not in my body anymore. I don't feel like I have possession of my limbs and body anymore, and that's not a place to be in. I've got to work my way slowly back to it. But if you've ever had an experience in your life that you can remember when you danced with joy and didn't care if somebody was looking. I know Nava, who was watching a few minutes ago, I don't know if she's still watching, was talking about how she could take me and teach me how to surf. And I have to tell you, I've laughed about that image in my head several times in the last week, because it takes a crane right now to get me up off the floor. I'm trying to picture me getting up onto a surfboard in water. But you know what? It sounds like fun. I just think it would take me probably a year to be able to do it on dry land, and then, swimming lessons, and another year to do it in the ocean. But to have that feeling of knowing that you can is a powerful, powerful thing. So there are little things that we can all do to be in our body. And I think one that's really helpful for me, because I'm somebody who has arthritis, and so I tend to not want to move because maybe it's going to be painful. But that's the exact opposite of what we need to be doing. We need to be stretching and doing small movements at first to lead up into bigger movements. We also want to be mindful of this with our kiddos. One of the things that I think that can be particularly tough about doing an early intensive behavioral intervention with a child who's on the autism spectrum is that 40 hours a week is a long period of time. And of course, the therapists are playing with the kids, and it's not all work, but it isn't as much body outside time as a neurotypical kid would get. So we need to be mindful of that as parents. And that's where a good OT comes in. That's making sure that we go to the park. That's making sure we get our kids in the pool, that we have something that helps them to be able to move their bodies. For our older kids, things like Tai Chi are so beneficial for our kids. And for kids that just, like, you really have to maximize time. I love swimming as an activity because it gets the whole body and the lungs going, and they love it. They love the pressure of the water. And it's also a safety issue. The more that they learn how to swim, the safer they are, because we know that drowning is a huge cause of death in the autism community. So, but there are all kinds of things. Some kids like to run. I know that there's a kiddo at Card that they paired running with reinforcers for so long that running became reinforcing. And this young lady likes to run and is a competitive runner. So, finding out what it is, but giving all of our kids an opportunity to be in their body and not forgetting that aspect of their development. And we have to model that behavior as parents. We need to be stretching. Even if it's just you get up in the morning and stretch for 5 minutes and do it with your kiddo, and maybe you don't know exactly how to do it. Again, there are YouTube videos. We show here on the show the Suchoga. Sucho does yoga with my son. They're just short little things. Go to the library, rent a DVD that has yoga for kids. There all kinds of possibilities. But we all need to be aware of moving with purpose and owning our bodies and being in our bodies.